This is Algebra 1, Lesson 5.5. We're doing point slope form, using point slope form to look at an equation. Again, we went through slope intercept form in here, and we'll talk about standard form soon. But slope intercept form showed two things. It showed a slope, and it showed an intercept. It showed an M, and it showed a B. Point slope form shows two things as well. It shows a point, and it shows a slope. So it still shows an M value, but it shows us a point value. Your point slope form of an equation that passes through a point is y minus y sub 1. And again, the key to this is the fact that it says minus right here equals m, that's the same slope, minus x sub 1. And again, that key right there, the fact that it says minus. So write in the word opposites right here. You're talking about the opposites of x and y. Example number 1 says, write the point slope form of the equation that passes through 1, 1 and 5, 3. 1, 1 and 5, 3. First find the slope. So use x sub 1, y sub 1 is 1, 1, and x sub 2, y sub 2 is 5, 3. So this is just the slope formula right here. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. When you sub all of the values in, 3 minus 1 over 5 minus 1. 3 minus 1 gives you 2. 5 minus 1 gives you 3 minus 1 gives you 2. 5 minus 1 gives you 4. Remember, we had to make that change yesterday. I made a mistake early. 2 over 4 simplifies to 1 over 2. So you have a slope of 1/2. So this is point slope form. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. The first thing you want to plug in is your slope right here, 1/2. It goes in right there in place of your m. Your x sub 1 and y sub 1 get plugged in to the x sub 1 and y sub 1 respectively. Notice we have 1, 1. This is your x sub 1 and your y sub 1. It's the opposite of each of these. Y goes right here. Notice it's the opposite of 1. We have minus 1 or negative 1. And x goes right here. Again, it's the opposite of 1. We have negative 1. So y minus 1 equals 1/2 times x minus 1. So there is your equation. Y minus 1 is equal to 1/2 times x minus 1. Example number 2 is using the point slope form of an equation. So all we're doing with example number 2 is we're writing it in point slope form, and then we're rewriting it in slope intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Again, this is point slope form. Y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times x minus x sub 1. First thing you plug in is your m value. Slope is negative 1. So in place of m, we're dropping in negative 1. This is substituting all of them in. Negative 6, negative 8. This is your y value, 8. Notice it's the opposite of 8. We have negative 8 there. And this here is your x value, negative 6. Notice, again, it's the opposite of that. Minus a negative 6 makes it plus 6 right there. So y minus 6 is equal to negative 1 times x plus 6. That's it simplified. This is your point slope form. It says then rewrite it as slope intercept form. So you have to distribute negative 1 to both of those. Negative 1 times x is negative x. Negative 1 times 6 is negative 6. So in order to get y by itself from that point, you just undo minus 8 by adding 8 to both sides. Plus 8 leaves you with y. When you add 8 to negative 6, you get positive 2. Therefore, y equals negative x plus 2 by adding 8 to both sides. And again, that is slope intercept form, mx plus b. Then we had some checkpoint problems. 3, negative 4, 5, negative 3. You got to write it in point slope form. You have to find the slope first. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1. Negative 3 minus a negative 4 is negative 3 plus 4, which is positive 1. Over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. 5 minus 3 is 2. So your slope then is 1/2. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. This is the easiest way to do point slope form. Do it just like this and plug in the values. M's value is the slope. You do not change the sign of the slope. That's something everybody was trying to do yesterday. They were trying to switch all of the signs. That one stays whatever it is. If we use this point, Y goes first. It's -4. We put the opposite, +4. X goes in the last blank. It's +3. We put the opposite, -3. There's point slope form. Y plus 4 equals 1/2 times X minus 3. For homework last night, I told y'all to do number 2 and number 4. So number 2, we have to find the slope as well. -3 minus 6 is -9. 8 minus a -4 is +4. That's 12. This simplifies. The number 3 goes into this one -3 times and into this one 4 times. So the slope then is -3 over 4. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1, fill in the blanks. Your slope then is -3 over 4. If we use this one here, y minus y sub 1, the opposite of 6 is -6, and the opposite of -4 is +4. Y minus 6 equals -3/4 times x plus 4. Number 3, write the point slope form of the equation again, then rewrite it as slope intercept form. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. Simple. M's value is this one, 2. The opposite of this one is y, +5. The opposite of this one is x, +3. That's point slope form. Just plugging them in. To make slope intercept form, you got to distribute this to both of these. 2x plus 6. So you have y plus 5 is equal to that. Undo +5 by subtracting it to get y by itself. Do it here as well. You get +1. So you have 2x +1 is equal to y. Or there's point slope form first and then slope intercept form. And again, you had to do number 4 for homework. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. Simple as can be. In place of m right here, we plug in -2. In place of y sub 1, we plug in the opposite of y right here. It says 9. We plug in -9. In place of x sub 1, we plug in the opposite of x right here, -1, +1. So that's your point slope form right there. Y minus 9 equals -2 times x plus 1. Then it tells you to rewrite it in slope intercept form. You have to distribute. -2 times x is -2x. -2 times 1 is -2 is equal to y minus 9. We got to do one more thing to get y by itself. Add 9 to both sides here and to the like term here, and you get +7 here. -2x plus 7 is equal to y. And that is slope intercept form.